Okay, so here we are in section 3.2. We're going to be going over the answers to 9 through 18. Okay, so starting up here with number 9, we're going to be finding the X and Y intercepts for each line, and then we're going to graph them. Okay, so to find the X and Y intercepts, all we have to do is we have to put zeros in the right places. And what I mean by that is that when we want to find the X intercept, we put in 0 for Y, and when we want to find the Y intercept, we put in 0 for X. We're going to use these for the next 6 problems, just plugging in 0 where they're meant to be. So for the X, we're going to plug in 0 for the Y here, and that will get rid of that 2Y. And all we have is 5X equals 20. And then if we divide 5 on both sides, we're going to have X equals 4. So we have 4, 0 for our first set of coordinates. And then the second one, we're going to plug in 0 for that 5X. And now the 5X is going to disappear. And we're left with 2Y equals 20. And then we're going to divide 2 on both sides. And our Y is going to come out to be 10. Okay, so then to graph these, we just have to plot the points. So starting with 4, 0, we go over 4, and then don't go up any. And then 0, 10 is just 0, and then up 10. And then you just got to put a line through it, like so. And there's your line. Okay, so then going to number 10 here, we're going to be doing the same thing where we're going to be plugging in 0 for Y and for X and finding our coordinates that way. What's good about this next one is that we actually have it in Y equals mx plus b. What that means is that that plus b is going to be our Y. When we plug in 0 for X here, all that we come out with is Y equals -10. So it's an easier one for the Y. For the X, to find the X value, we're going to plug in that 0 for Y, and we're going to have 0 equals 2X minus 10. I don't really want this. I kind of want to put numbers on one side and X's on the other. So I'm going to add 10 on both sides because I like positive numbers. We're going to have 10 equals 2X, and then divide by 2 on both sides. And we have X equals 5, or 5 equals X. Okay, and then graphing this, we're just going to do the same exact thing. So we have 5, 0, and then 0, -10 down here. Okay, and then we're just going to draw that line between. And there we go, there's our line. Okay, so then going on to number 11, we have 4x minus y equals 8. We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to plug in 0 for x and y and see what comes out. So for finding the x, we're going to plug in the 0 for y really fast. And we're going to have 4x equals 8. And then divide both sides by 4. And we should have x equals 2. So 2, 0. Okay, so then this next one, we're going to plug in that 0 for x, and we have -y equals 8. Okay, so this isn't done. Remember that we have to get y completely by itself, and we have to make it positive. So because it has a negative on it, we're going to divide by -1 on both sides. We're going to get y is 8. -8, my bad. Okay. So then all we have to do is just graph it. So we have 2, 0 as our first point. And then we have 0, -8. Make sure to be careful with those negatives. As you can see, that if I would have just left it with a +8, it would have made our graph way different. Okay, and then there is our graph for that one. Okay, so then going on to number 12, I'm going to clear out all my drawings really fast. Going to number 12, we have x plus y equals 7. So we're just going to plug in that 0 for y and that 0 for x. So plugging in 0 for y, we have x equals 7, because it would get rid of that one. And then if we plug in, 0 for x, it would get rid of the x, and we just have y equals 7. Okay, so then we're just going to draw that graph by drawing the 7, 0, and then the 0, 7. And then we are just going to draw that line in between. Super nice drawing lines like this because you just need 2 points and then you can go ahead and just finish it. Okay, so then coming over to y equals -3/7x minus 6, we're going to plug in that 0 for y let's plug in for x first because that's the easier one. So plugging in 0 for x, it would multiply this entire thing and get rid of it. So then we're just left with y equals -6. So that one was the easy one. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to plug in 0 for y now. Okay, so plugging in 0 for y, we're going to get -3/7x minus 6. I definitely don't want to leave it like this. So I'm actually going to add 3 7s. Actually, let's add 6 on both sides. So if we add 6 on both sides, we're just going to have 6 equals -3/7x. And then to get rid of a fraction like this, all we have to do is multiply it by the reciprocal to get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply it by a 7/-3. That's going to get rid of those. And then we're going to multiply that 6 by 7/-3. Okay, so when we're doing this, the 6 divided by 3 is just going to be 2 up top. So we're going to have that x is a -14. Okay, so we have -14, 0, and 0, -6. So then when we graph that, I can't really graph my -14. I'm going to pretend that the point is somewhere out here on my graph. You would just make more points, but mine doesn't really go out that far. And then we're going to do our 0, -6. Okay, and then we're just going to draw the line in between. There we go. Okay, so then going on to number 14, we're going to do the what we've been doing so far. So 0 for y, 0 for x. So let's plug in 0 for y first. That's going to get rid of this right here, and we're just going to be left with 2x equals 18. If we divide by 2 on both sides, we're going to get x equals 9. Okay, and then if we go ahead and plug in 0 for x, it's going to get rid of this, and we're going to be left with -6y equals 18. Then we're going to divide by -6 on both sides. We're going to get y equals -3. So now we have our 2 points. We're just going to graph it. So our first one is 9, 0. So it's that point right there. And then 0, -3, which is that point right there. We're just going to draw the line. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go on to 15 through 18. I'm going to go ahead and clear my drawings really fast. Okay, so what we're doing is we're graphing the following lines and we're going to label 3 points. So how we're going to do this is we're just going to be plugging in points, right? So for this first one, we have x equals 5. So x equals 5 is a line that is going to just be straight up and down like this, meaning that all the x values have to be 5, but the y value can be anything. So I'm just going to label some points, some easy ones, and then graphing this one, all we have to do is just make sure that it's just going to go straight up and down. So 5, 3. And then we're going to go ahead and draw the line. And there we go. There's the line for x equals 5. So this next one for 16, y equals 4 is kind of the same deal. We're going to get a graph that is just a horizontal line. So when we do this one, y can only be 4. So we can put in any number for an x value, but it always has to be 4. So let's go with 0, 4, 1, 4, and 3, 4. Some easy numbers that we can deal with. So then if we go ahead and plug those in, we got 0, 4 here, 1, 4, and 3, 4. And then we can go ahead and just create that graph. There we go. Okay, so then going on to the next one, we have 3x equals -6. I'm going to go ahead and simplify this down a little bit more. Make sure that the x is just on one side since we only have one variable. To do that, I'm going to divide 3 on both sides. So then what we should come out with is x equals -2. So again, this is like 15, just had a little bit more steps, but we can only have -2 for our x value. So our y value can be anything. So we can just do another -2, 0, -2, 1, and -2, 3. I really like those numbers. Okay, so -2, 0, -2, 1, and 3. Make sure that on your graph, you're actually putting the points and where they are. And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw this x equals -2. There we go. Okay, so then going on to 18, it's going to be the same deal. Since we only have a y, we're going to try and just get the y by itself on one side. So I'm going to -1 on both sides so that we come up with -16 equals 2y. If we divide by 2 on both sides, we're going to get y equals -8. Okay, so then again, what this means is that we can only have -8 as a y value, but x can be anything. Let's choose some different numbers. Let's say it's 5, 2, -8, and -3, -8. Okay, so then we're just going to graph them. So 5, -8 is going to be, 1 over. And then 2, -8 is going to be right there. And then -3, -8 is going to be right there. And then how you would do it on yours is just go ahead and label them on your graph. 2, -8, and 5, -8. All right. And then go ahead and just draw out your line. And that should be the end of those answers there. Okay, hope this helped.